colleagues, dear Russia-Vietnam conference participants, for the Shipbuilding Prospects Conference, we are happy to welcome you and thank you for your participation. I would like to remind you that should you be a Russian participant, you choose the Russian channel and speak Russian. And when you speak, you will be able to, your speech will be translated for the English-speaking participants in Vietnam. Dear Vietnamese colleagues, I would like to cordially welcome you, and your participation is a great honor for us. Please know that you connect to the English channel and listen to the conference in English, and your presentation and speeches will be automatically translated into Russian. And I am happy to give the floor to the moderator of today's conference, representative of the International Cooperation Department of St. Petersburg Maritime University, Mr. Kirill Рождественский. Я на английском канале. Я на английском канале. Я на английском канале. Я на английском. I'm on the English channel. Dear Russian and Vietnamese colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, let me open our international Russia-Vietnam International Online Conference. It is known that Vietnam is a long-term partner of Russia. It is a seafaring country which occupies the 6th place worldwide. And I would like to ask the speakers to adhere to the procedure, to the program. And now I would like to give the floor to the representative of, to Ilya, who is the representative of the Ministry of Trade of the Russian Federation. Hello, dear colleagues. Can you hear me, see me and hear me well? Once again, good afternoon. On behalf of the Shipbuilding Department, from the Ministry of Trade and Industry of the Russian Federation, and on behalf of myself, I am happy to welcome the representatives of the Russia-Vietnam Online Conference for the Prospects of International Development and Shipbuilding. I would like to thank Neva International and St. Petersburg Expert Support Center for the support in holding this event and for the opportunity to speak about this in front of this esteemed audience and discuss the key directions of the cooperation of our countries. In the first place, I would like to note that Vietnam is one of the key partners in the Asian Pacific region, and due to the reduction of the world trade because of the pandemic, our turnover against this background has increased and reached the level of $750 billion. Also, the export of ships to Vietnam from Russia has increased from $10 to $15 million worth. And also, the growth points for our bilateral trade are the raw materials export and in-depth industrial cooperation. We see broad opportunities for cooperation, not only in civilian, but also in military shipbuilding. I would like to note that the Russian market for shipbuilding has increased by 67%. in 2020 has increased to the level of 750 billion rubles, and also we have built about 90 large tonnage ships. Also, we have built a great share of icebreakers and large tonnage ships. We have built the Victor Chernomyrdin 25 megawatt icebreaker and 114 ton water displacement Vladimir Monomach tanker. Until 2030, the prospective development will be large tonnage shipbuilding, fishery, and icebreaker fleet. Based on the prospective plan for Russian Ministry of Trade and Industry until the year 2035, we have scheduled the building of up to 1,000 ships of various tonnages. Vietnam is purchasing mostly the military type ships from Russia, but Russian companies are welcome, would be happy to propose also a line of civilian ships. Also, for example, in 2015 at the Song 2 shipyard, the dredging ship Severная Двина has been built for Rosmor Port. Also, our countries are cooperating in the maritime infrastructure and seabed for the seabed deposits of minerals. Since 1981, we have Russian JV, Russian-Vietnamese JV, with a fleet of several dozen ships, and it's constantly upgrading, which opens broad opportunities for cooperation between Russian and Vietnamese shipyards. Also, one of the large infrastructural projects in the field of can be the Azov and Typhoon ports corridors, which is done by the Azov seaport, and we are also working at the Russian-Vietnamese industrial park development. Also, in the years 2023-2024, after the dredging work, we will open a port which will be able to accept, to receive the ships with a tonnage of 30 to 50,000 tons. I hope that Russian and Vietnamese companies will continue their mutually beneficial cooperation. There are all prerequisites for that. I can reassure you that the Russian Ministry of Trade and Industry is always open for the dialogue and is always happy to facilitate the trade relations between our countries. Thank you for your attention, and I hope for fruitful cooperation between Russia and Vietnam in civilian shipbuilding and port infrastructure. Now the floor goes to Nadezhda Larionova, who is Director General of St. Petersburg Export Support Center. Hello, dear conference participants. I am happy to welcome you from our northern port city of St. Petersburg. And we are happy to support the export-oriented companies. And historically in the city, one of the key directions is the shipbuilding industry. And for sure, in our city, there is a great number of companies in this sector who are producing a very broad range of civilian type ships and various parts. And we are the partners in the organization of this conference. And we hope that the company in the process of this event will be able to explore the potential and opportunities for foreign trade cooperation between our city and Vietnamese companies. And we also are planning to arrange a business mission in this field, which will be staffed by both regional representatives of regional authorities and company representatives who will be discussing the details of our cooperation. And I hope that it goes effectively for all our participants, and we can arrange primary stage negotiations, which can help us find mutual points of common interest. Now the floor goes to Mr. Dong Huang Minh, trade advisor of the Vietnamese embassy in the Russian Federation. Ничего не слышно.
Уважаемые представители посольства Вьетнама, включите, пожалуйста, микрофон, мы вас пока не слышим.
Dear Vietnamese embassy representatives.
Уважаемые дамы и господа.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, dear conference participants, in the first place, I would like to cordially thank you for inviting me to take part in this conference and speak at this international online conference. The prospects for the development of shipbuilding cooperation between Russia and Vietnam. And on behalf of the Embassy and Trade Representative Office of Vietnam and the Russian Federation, we would like to welcome the conference participants and wish you good health and success. Dear colleagues and friends, the trade and economic cooperation between Vietnam and Russia has been prosperous over the recent time, especially since the agreement about free trade between Vietnam and Russia took effect in October 16. And in spite of the negative impact of the pandemic, the mutual trade turnover in 2020 has increased by 15.2% compared to 2019, and it has reached $5.7 billion. And in the first quarter, it has increased by 27% compared with the first quarter of 2020. Currently, Vietnam is the largest trade partner of Russia after China, US, Korea, and Japan, and that's an impressive result. And this is an output of the mutual effort of two countries for the improvement of cooperation and the tendency of the growth of mutual trade is increasing over the recent years. Dear colleagues and friends, Vietnam and Russia are traditionally cooperating in the field of shipbuilding since the Soviet times. In the first place, it's the transfer of military ships and building of military navy ships. In 1980s, the companies of the Soviet Union were closely cooperating with the Vietnamese partners and developing the technical support projects in technology and providing industrial equipment. Over the recent years, our countries have applied many efforts for development of the cooperation. For example, establishment of a joint task force for shipbuilding in the framework of the Intergovernmental Commission for Trade and Economic and R&D Cooperation. And Russia has undertaken the transfer of technologies to Vietnam, including the participation of specialized shipbuilding exhibitions Currently, in the field of civilian shipbuilding, the cooperation between our countries is still is not as extensive as the potential and cooperation in other fields between the two countries, and has room for improvement. Therefore, we hope that we can arrange the exchange of opinions and assess and apply practical measures for international cooperation during the nearest time. In order to expand the cooperation in this field, we offer the Russian and Vietnamese companies to participate more actively in the exhibitions of arranged by two countries, visit each other more often, and exchange opinions about the current situation. And the trade mission and embassy of Vietnam and Russia is always happy to support the entrepreneurs from two countries in this very promising field. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you. Thank you. Now let me give floor to Mr. Vyacheslav Harin, trade representative of Russia in Vietnam. Hello. Good afternoon, dear colleagues, dear friends, dear Vietnamese partners. I would also like to thank you for today's event. I think it's a very timely one. It's a very timely one because, as the speakers have mentioned, the cooperation between our two countries is on the rise currently, and even though the last year was very difficult for all countries worldwide, but it has displayed the opportunities for our cooperation virtually in all fields of mutual trade turnover and exchange of export missions, etc. But I would like to focus on directly on the topic of our today's event. From the point of view of shipbuilding, the extent of the coastline of Vietnam opens great opportunities for shipbuilding and maritime traffic, and it's one of the promising fields in the development of the national economy of Vietnam. Therefore, the government of Vietnam supports it very actively. And there is a chain of a network of railroads in Vietnam, which is connected to the seaports. I mean, it's not very extensive, so most of the traffic is by motor vehicles and sea transport. And mostly shipbuilding is developed in the northern, central, and southern part of the country. And Vietnam is open for foreign direct investment and other types of cooperation. There are about 120 shipbuilding plants and ship repair plants in Vietnam with a total capacity of over 1,000 tons. The total capability is about 2.6 million tons per year. The actual load is about half of that value. And the main shipbuilding in Vietnam is the shipbuilding company, public shipbuilding company of Vietnam, NBIC. And the output in 2020 by 70% consisted of finished ships, and by 70%, $50 million, it was ship repair. Maybe the colleagues would correct me afterwards. And we have ship repair and shipbuilding plants which are owned by Vietnamese National Maritime Company and a number of other companies. And one of the largest foreign investors which are active in the territory of Vietnam is Hyundai, which is manufacturing along with Vietnam a large number of ships. There was, and the tonnage was about 90,000 tons. And there were many international projects in the field of ship in the building in the framework of the Russia-Vietnam Commission for Scientific for R&D and Trade Cooperation. And we should update our documents for the work group in order to make it up to date and inscribe, including the new areas of activities interesting for both sides.
The protocol of the minutes, the materials of the final session of the commission included research in shipbuilding in view of increase in the performance of the ships and the maritime equipment for shelf development, designing high-speed and passenger vessels, introducing new technologies, producing equipment for construction and repair of vessels and maritime equipment, development and modernization of existing production facilities, creating development on the Vietnamese and Russian shipyards, and a number of other issues. In practical plan of view, I would like to mention that today the very relevant topic is cooperation in production of ships, of civil ships, civil vessels, in sphere of tourism development, because pre-pandemic 60 million tourists, or 60 million tourists were visiting Vietnam annually. And it's high-speed vessels for performing for Cambodia line performance vessels. So like Kalashnikov line. This topic hasn't been developed, unfortunately. It's also an interesting area of activity is supply of high speed and big size in passenger capacity vessels that link continent with islands, because many Vietnamese citizens live on their islands. And our assessment is that renovation of the fleet that transport these citizens is very topical. There's urgent today, because in rough seas, the cargo flow and passenger flow stops because currently operating ships, they don't meet the safety requirements at sea in case of rough seas. It's an interesting topic can be transportation along the rivers. In the south of Vietnam, the great number, I'm not going to go into numbers, a number of rivers, a great number of rivers in the south of Vietnam, we can get Vietnam, from Cambodia, from Vietnam, Thailand, and for tourists. It says transportation for tourists can be very interesting topic, because Vietnam and adjacent countries has a very picturesque nature and place. It's hard to find a place in the world where the tourists, as well from Russia, some 700,000 tourists from Russia visit Vietnam annually. It will be very interesting to visit this place for those tourists. Also, lately, before pandemic, a delegation of Vietnam from Vietnamese part to Russia, to Nizhny Novgorod, to other cities. There's a visit from Vietnamese part about purchasing a high-speed boats, powerboats, for the committee of a rescue committee for the Ministry of Emergency, for river and sea police, the vessels that can go on shallow waters with a lot with polluted areas, a lot of obstructions. In terms of patrolling, it's not naval shipbuilding, it's civil shipbuilding, but it's a very interesting topic. And there were some agreements, but they have been lingering on because of pandemic. So we can go to more interesting topics for cooperation that so far we haven't been focusing, unfortunately. Surely, as my colleagues mentioned, Vietnam is actually an interesting venue of industrial park. Vietnamese, it's northern part of Vietnam. It's Haiphong port vicinity where we can locate production and warehouse facilities. So you can see the representative of a business council here. He manages this venue, this site. So I appeal to all here participants and from Russian and Vietnamese part to consider his proposal. It all might be very interesting. And also it's oil and gas industry. It's also international. Well, it's Zarubezhneft and Rosneft and Gazprom International and other enterprises. They're operating on shelf, and shelf implies using passenger vessels and cargo transportation tugs and all other kinds of vessels. So I think that work between our producers and joint ventures should be very tightly connected. So our mission supports the Ministry of Trade and Industry of Vietnam. We are in touch with them, and we're always ready to support them for setting up the links, not only with the ministry, but with Trade and Industry, Ministry of Trade, but with the companies, with the customers. In terms of our enterprises, the most of interest are of those who has got their representatives. The KB Alexeyev is Baltisky facility. It's a center of shipbuilding, and Krylov Center, Zelenodolsky enterprise, and not to go down the list of other enterprises that are interested in contacts with Vietnam. I've got a request to have more efficient work and more complete. Just notify us, keep us posted. What are you doing? What are you planning? How we can help you? Then this work will be developing more effectively. It will be bringing joint benefit. So thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Very interesting, very specific and prospective information presentation in terms of shipbuilding and ship repair, and about high-speed boats and oil and gas, plenty and very specific. So I'd like everybody to pay attention to this. Just please keep us posted timely, so to keep the Russian party posted. Let's turn to the next presentation. And Dan Sinigov, representative of Vietnamese Russian Business Council, Azov Center, the port, sir. Representative of industrial zone that has been already mentioned here. Please. Good afternoon. Can you hear me? I'm really happy to see all representatives of our embassy, our Vietnamese colleague in Vietnam, our Vietnamese colleagues. It's a pity I can't see them in person. I'm very, very used to be in the close touch with as a representative of Russian Vietnamese Business Council. I would like to thank everybody for giving me this opportunity to participate in this conference. And I would say that all the topics that have been listed here are very important. This is that the economy of Vietnam is developing at high rate, and it's in the center of one of the most prospective regions of oceanic and Asian Pacific region, with a population of 300 million people. And our business started working in business, and like Vietnamese business starts working here. It's very important. You're speaking in prospect for Russian shipbuilders. I would say the very high rate of development of sea transportation in Vietnam. We see all the sea routes. So the program till 2030, there's implies a number of projects. If before coming to this project, I will say a couple of words. So this till 2019, 2020, we try to create a line of transportation, maritime transportation, about 1 million tons annually of coal in Sikonin and Hanphong province of transportation of our cargoes. But analyze the facts that the fleet that we've been it's about 12.5 million tons. They're not related neither to Russian, not to Vietnamese fleet. It says we're losing business. We need to pay attention. We need how to part of economic indicators that to turn to our countries, to have our ships working there. So in terms of the governmental program, in terms of development of inland water routes, Vietnam, so 15.5% of cargo transportation lies on this, and 1.9% of passenger transportation. And we get for 5.5% of cargo, and we'll have 655 million tons a year, and 200 million passengers a year will be the rate of transportation. And we'll have transportation about 30 million tons of transportation. So the tonnage, but to 2030, there will be 33 million tons of overall tonnage of the ships. About 1.5 to 2 million tons with container ships, 950,000 of passenger ships. It's about 35 million tons will be tonnage of the ships by 2030. Different variants that will vary. So we'd like to pay attention to the following. In considering the issue of design and construction of ships, we need to consider economic potentials of our business. We know that the biggest terminal is being constructed in Kamchatka for LPG. But also in territory of Vietnam, and we can use a transit point and transshipment point in Vietnam to Laos as well. And so also supply of power plants, LNG facilities supply will have great development prospects. And transportation of these cargoes will require a lot of fleet. So the additional tonnage of fleet is about 10.5 million tons now, and 8 million tons are required for meeting the requirements of economy of Vietnam. And we need to meet the requirement. 15,000 items of ships to replace the existing fleet. We have points of contact will improve our position. We need to pay attention to the program of development on inland water routes of Vietnam. And to meet these indicators, the Vietnam will require to attract international capital and contacts with Russia. Russia should use this opportunity and give everything to strengthen its position in the Vietnamese development market. And and I would request Vietnamese colleagues to support these endeavors. I would also want to mention that currently, I think that the number of rivers in Vietnam gives the opportunity to make a cheaper transportation, because it's the most economical way of transportation by rivers. So the dredging works should be performed. And not part of a product that's been, so barges, tugs, they'll be able to pass the rivers. They'll be cleared and they'll do their jobs. Currently, number of our colleagues said that we've passed this pandemic year, and I think we need to set other tasks. Currently, our relationships are at the starting position. With the start opportunities, we can bring not only not to increase our trade return, not by 15%, but 2 or 3 times. It's not only shipbuilding. It's because both Russia and Vietnam are the maritime countries, and we need to develop the shipbuilding. I would like to thank everybody, and we wish good health to the Russian and to Vietnamese people. And I wish us to perform our economic tasks, and shipbuilding as one of them. Thanks for your attention. Thanks, Adrian. Very interesting presentation. We've got mentioned niches. Nowadays, the transportation level is limited, so we need to increase it. That was the appeal in this presentation. It's an important point. So about the dredging works, to increase the trade volumes by inland waterways. And it actually entails some cooperation and requires cooperation with shipbuilding shipyards, and also we have, in terms of building of high-speed ships and ferries, and also the dredging. We speak about the dredging works. Now let's turn to our session number 1. So we'll welcome speeches mostly, but a lot of contents, prospects of trends and developments between Vietnam and Russia in part of shipbuilding, analysis of the market. And we'll give the floor to Mr. Hong Min Chen, the Deputy General Director of Trade Council of Vietnam and Russia, of promoting of So we give the floor to Mr. Nguyen Hon Min. The floor is given to Dong Han. Vietrade colleagues, you can start your presentation. We can't hear you currently. Vietrade.
Хуан Минчен, пожалуйста.
Mr. Huang Minqian. Mr. Huang Minqian, we give you the floor.
Kính thưa các quý vị đại biểu, khách quý. Lời đầu tiên, thay mặt lãnh đạo Cục Xúc tiến Thương mại, Bộ Công Thương, xin gửi tới các quý vị đại biểu lời chúc sức khỏe và lời chào trân trọng. Việt Nam là quốc gia có bờ biển dài 3.260 km và có trên 1 triệu km vuông vùng đặc quyền kinh tế biển, có hàng trăm hòn đảo lớn nhỏ và hàng vạn km đường sông đổ ra biển. Trong đó, 2.300 km bờ biển của Việt Nam.
And there's a request to speak English, because it's an English Russian interpretation.
Bờ biển của Việt Nam nằm trên tuyến hàng hải quốc tế từ Bắc xuống Nam, từ Đông sang Tây thuộc khu vực châu Á Thái Bình Dương. Đó là một thế mạnh của Việt Nam trong vận tải đường thủy nội địa và đường biển quốc tế. Không chỉ có ưu thế về mặt tự nhiên, Đảng và Nhà nước Việt Nam cũng luôn ban hành những chính sách sáng tạo, tạo điều kiện thuận lợi cho sự phát triển của ngành đóng tàu. Và trong nghị quyết số 36 ngày 22 tháng 10 năm 2018 của Ban chấp hành Trung ương Đảng khóa 12 về chiến lược phát triển biển, bền vững kinh tế biển Việt Nam đến năm 2030, tầm nhìn đến 2045, Việt Nam đã xác định kinh tế biển là động lực để
Dear colleagues, unfortunately, the presentation is in Vietnamese and we are not able to provide the translation from this language.
Không thể, đấy, họ thể dịch nữa.
Đấy, cái con bé này nó bảo em là ok.
Заметка, просим прощения, минуту, подождите, пожалуйста.
Nó vẫn thích nữa.
Bước đi quan trọng để thực hiện chiến lược biển là phát triển công nghiệp đóng mới và sửa chữa tàu biển. Không chỉ vậy, hiện nay nhu cầu vận chuyển bằng đường biển cũng tăng cao, mở ra nhiều cơ hội về thị trường cho ngành đóng tàu. Kính thưa các quý vị đại biểu, ngành công nghiệp đóng tàu là bộ phận quan trọng của nền kinh tế hàng hải. Trải qua gần 50 năm phát triển và trưởng thành, công nghiệp đóng tàu Việt Nam đã thực sự trở thành một ngành công nghiệp trọng điểm quốc gia với một hệ thống các nhà máy đóng tàu lớn nhỏ từ Bắc vào Nam. Các nhà máy liên doanh với nước ngoài cùng với đội ngũ cán bộ, công nhân viên hết sức đông đảo, trở thành một nguồn nhân lực và trang bị kỹ thuật quan trọng, thiết yếu của quốc gia. Hiện nay, Việt Nam có khoảng 150 nhà máy đóng tàu, trong đó có khoảng 20 doanh nghiệp lớn có khả năng đóng tàu lớn, phức tạp về kỹ thuật và xuất khẩu. Tuy nhiên, những năm gần đây, ngành công nghiệp đóng tàu Việt Nam vẫn chưa đạt được kết quả như kỳ vọng. Lý do chủ yếu là do thị trường vận tải biển suy thoái kéo dài đã khiến cho ngành công nghiệp đóng tàu bị ảnh hưởng không nhỏ. Áp lực cạnh tranh giữa các doanh nghiệp đóng tàu ngày càng gay gắt. Đặc biệt, trong vòng 2 năm trở lại đây, khi đại dịch Covid-19 ảnh hưởng tiêu cực đến mọi mặt của đời sống kinh tế xã hội, thì ngành đóng tàu phải đối diện với rất nhiều khó khăn cả về thị trường, về nhân lực và định hướng phát triển. Thưa toàn thể quý vị, Việt Nam và Liên bang Nga là đối tác chiến lược toàn diện dựa trên truyền thống quý báu và tình hữu nghị chân thành, hiểu biết lẫn nhau. Hợp tác kinh tế, thương mại đóng vai trò then chốt trong quan hệ giữa hai nước. Trong đó, lĩnh vực đóng tàu có thể coi là lĩnh vực hợp tác có lịch sử tương đối lâu đời, khởi nguồn từ quan hệ hợp tác trong lĩnh vực chuyển giao tàu quân sự cũng như lĩnh vực đóng tàu quân sự. Tuy nhiên, trong lĩnh vực đóng tàu dân sự, cho đến nay hợp tác giữa hai nước vẫn chưa có được sự phát triển như kỳ vọng. Là cơ quan quản lý nhà nước cấp trung ương về xúc tiến thương mại, với mạng lưới các tổ chức xúc tiến thương mại ở 63 tỉnh thành trên cả nước và các văn phòng xúc tiến thương mại trong và ngoài nước, với các đối tác thường xuyên là các đại sứ quán, các thương vụ các nước tại Việt Nam, trong đó có thương vụ Liên bang Nga tại Việt Nam, và các hiệp hội ngành hàng và các doanh nghiệp hoạt động trong các lĩnh vực của nền kinh tế. Cục xúc tiến thương mại sẵn sàng là cầu nối, hỗ trợ cho các doanh nghiệp Việt Nam và Liên bang Nga trong lĩnh vực đóng tàu, tìm kiếm đối tác và cơ hội hợp tác đầu tư dưới nhiều hình thức. Các hoạt động chúng tôi có thể hỗ trợ bao gồm tổ chức các hội chợ, triển lãm, hội nghị, diễn đàn, hội thảo chuyên sâu, tổ chức các đoàn doanh nghiệp Việt Nam giao thương trực tiếp tại thị trường Liên bang Nga cũng như đón tiếp các đoàn doanh nghiệp Nga tới thăm và làm việc tại Việt Nam. Trước mắt, trong bối cảnh dịch bệnh COVID-19 như hiện nay, Cục Xúc tiến Thương mại sẵn sàng hỗ trợ kết nối giao thương với các doanh nghiệp hai nước thông qua hình thức trực tuyến. Một lần nữa, thay mặt lãnh đạo Cục Xúc tiến Thương mại Bộ Công Thương Việt Nam, tôi xin chúc toàn thể quý vị đại biểu, các vị khách quý, sức khỏe, thành công và an toàn vượt qua đại dịch COVID-19. Chúc hội nghị thành công tốt đẹp. Xin trân trọng cảm ơn.
Большое спасибо за ваше выступление. Наверное, мы из этого сделаем вывод, что нам нужно больше изучать вьетнамский язык, а вам продолжать изучать русский язык. Спасибо вам большое. Я передаю сейчас эстафетную палочку господину Nguyen Tien. Так, коллеги, немножко позже включится представитель Вьеттрейда и вкратце изложит, сообщит содержание господина Хуанг Минь на английском языке. А я тогда перехожу к следующему выступающему, это господин Nguyen Tien Дат, представляющую Вьетнамскую судостроительную корпорацию. Вот от взаимодействия наших корпораций, наши ОСК, очень многое зависит с точки зрения реализации планов и перспектив строительства. Пожалуйста.
Xin chào tất cả mọi người. Trước tiên khi mà vào phần trao đổi thì tôi cũng muốn có ý kiến đề xuất lên ban tổ chức về cái việc thông dịch nội dung trao đổi. Ai đó có thể giúp tôi, bởi vì là từ phần tôi thấy ít nhất là có 3 nhóm đối tác đến từ phía Việt Nam là Tổng Công ty Công nghiệp Tàu thủy, Cục Hàng hải, Cục Đăng kiểm Việt Nam. Tuy nhiên mà phần các diễn giả trình bày bằng tiếng Nga chúng tôi không hiểu được.
Участники с вьетнамской стороны у нас делают презентации на английском языке. Можем ли мы вас попросить, пожалуйста, говорить на английском, русско-английском? Спасибо.
Để cái phần trao đổi của hai bên nó có hiệu quả thì tôi nghĩ rằng là cần có đoạn thông dịch. Chúng tôi có thể nói chuyện bằng tiếng Việt và cần phải dịch tiếng Nga, hoặc chúng tôi nói
Could we ask you to speak English?
Nhưng mà tôi không rõ là với các bạn nước Nga thì có thể nói trao đổi tiếng Anh không? Nếu không nói được trao đổi bằng tiếng Anh thì chúng ta dùng tiếng Việt, tiếng Nga và chắc chắn phải có đoạn thông dịch ở giữa thì hai bên mới hiểu nhau được. Và cách trình bày như thế này thì theo tôi nghĩ rằng là mỗi một bên, ví dụ như tôi sẽ nói khoảng tầm độ 5 câu và để cho các bạn có thể hỗ trợ để dịch. Ví dụ như phần trình bày lúc trước của anh Chiến ấy, thì tôi thấy rằng anh nói một đoạn dài tất cả bằng tiếng Việt mà không ai dịch tiếng Nga, thì tôi cũng sợ rằng là các bạn người Nga cũng không hiểu hết được cái nội dung trình bày, và nếu mà tôi cũng tiếp tục trình bày một đoạn dài.
У нас будет сотрудник в следующий раз, он знает вьетнамский язык великолепно, поэтому я предложил бы...
We have an employee who speaks Vietnamese very well. I would like to propose to present the Vietnamese presentations in writing in a printed format. Then we can disseminate it. A minute of attention, please. Since it happened so that our Vietnamese colleagues are speaking in Vietnamese, and we don't have a Vietnamese translator, I am happy to assist. Since there is no translation into Vietnamese, I can provide it. If anyone can speak Vietnamese, I can provide this translation.
Trong khi chúng ta đang thiếu sót một người phiên dịch Nga Việt thì tôi sẽ có một cái đóng góp mà cho sản phẩm kinh tế của đại diện thương mại Liên bang Nga tại Việt Nam sẽ hỗ trợ cho các đại biểu.
Xin cảm ơn ban soạn Spasiba. Tôi sẽ phát biểu ngắn. Trước tiên thì cũng phải giới thiệu về SPIC. Phải có người điều hành cho mình lên. Đang nói rồi. SBC là tổng công ty công nghiệp tàu thủy tổng ty công nghiệp tàu thủy, là một tổng công ty nhà nước của Việt Nam với năng lực đóng tàu đang là chiếm lĩnh hàng đầu của Việt Nam với tổng số công ty đóng tàu và đang hoạt động trên 20 đơn vị. Tổng công ty công nghiệp tàu thủy hiện nay thì đang hoạt động chính trên hai lĩnh vực là đóng mới và sửa chữa tàu thủy. Chưa bật mic. Chúng tôi trong quá trình hợp tác với nước Nga thì cũng đã hợp tác trên nhiều lĩnh vực của liên quan đến đóng mới và sửa chữa. Chẳng như phần đóng mới thì các anh đã biết rằng là vừa rồi Chiến giới thiệu là phần đóng mới thì chủ yếu là Việt Nam đặt đóng tàu quân sự của nước Nga, và ngược lại thì phía Việt Nam cũng trước đây đã sửa chữa nhiều tàu thương mại, tàu cá cho nước Nga thông qua những cái hiệp định hợp tác kinh tế.
Mình cũng đóng tàu quân sự theo thiết kế của Nga.
Có lẽ là anh phiên dịch hình như chưa mở mic cho nên mọi người không nghe thấy tiếng. Anh phiên dịch anh chưa mở micro anh chưa mở micro của anh cho nên là khi anh nói mọi người không nghe thấy. Chúng tôi trong thời gian gần đây thì cũng có một số thông tin về hợp tác trong lĩnh vực đóng mới và sửa chữa tàu với Nga. Năm 2015, Tổng công ty công nghiệp tàu thủy cũng có một đoàn công tác sang Nga. Chúng tôi đã tới Saint Petersburg và Moscow để trao đổi tìm kiếm các cơ hội hợp tác với một số đơn vị thiết kế và nhà đóng tàu ở Saint Petersburg và ở Moscow.
Да, вас очень хорошо слышно.
Да, слышно отлично.
Trong khuôn khổ của buổi hội thảo hôm nay thì tôi cũng muốn đi hai bên trao đổi và những vấn đề hết sức cụ thể về nhu cầu về năng lực và mong muốn của bên Nga, và đồng thời cái khả năng nhu cầu của bên phía Việt Nam. Hiện nay thì về phần trao đổi tôi cũng muốn được các bạn phía Nga nói rõ hơn về cái chia sẻ thêm về nhu cầu đối với lại sản phẩm về phần mua tức là về nhu cầu đối với sản phẩm đóng mới tàu biển, nhu cầu về sửa chữa tàu biển, hoặc nhu cầu của các bạn về bán máy móc trang thiết bị hay là thiết kế về tàu biển, tức là các nhu cầu các bạn về cả phần mua và phần bán thì như thế nào, thì mời các bạn cũng nói cho chúng tôi biết. Thế còn đâu thì bên
Большое спасибо. Ну вот здесь прозвучал запрос к российским судостроителям, российским специалистам, возможно, к объединенной судостроительной корпорации.
There was a question to the Russian shipbuilders and Russian specialists about what can be done when it comes to cooperation. And we will have speakers from different organizations and representatives of the United Shipbuilding Corporation. Thank you for this presentation. We will have a small discussion because one of the questions actually has arisen spontaneously, and it was an important question. It was mentioned in the speech by Mr. Vyacheslav Harinov. It was about a river transportation, ferries going through the rivers, mostly river ferries. And we have asked a number of experts to get involved in the possible discussion. So I propose to make small inputs into this discussion on the part of the person who has initiated it. And then we have Anatoly Benenson, who is an expert in riverine ferries, ferry boats, a designer and a builder of such ferries. Also, we have a representative of the United Shipbuilding Corporation, Mr. Valentin Nakhotkin, and Dmitry Kiselov, who is an expert from St. Petersburg State Maritime University. I would like to now give floor to Vyacheslav. Can you repeat again when it comes to the ferries? The second representative of Russia in Vietnam, if you are connected. Okay.
Не слышно, что говоришь, что не слышно. Не слышно. Вы слышите?
А?
Вы слышите, но что-то говорит.
Спасибо. Если у нас на связи есть... Не слышно? У нас... Слышно. Так, если есть Валентин Находкин на связи, директор департамента...
We have Valentin Nakhotkin, who is connected. He's the head of the marketing department of the USC, and now he can speak about the ferries. Hello, dear participants, dear conference participants, dear Russian colleagues, dear Vietnamese partners. The USC is one of the largest state corporations of Russia, which brings together about 80% of shipbuilding capacity of Russia. And we have close cooperation with a whole number of international agents. And I'm sure that my colleagues from the military and technical cooperation sector know the Vietnamese colleagues and personally, as well as Vietnamese corporations. And I represent the civilian shipbuilding sector. Our corporation has a tremendous experience of shipbuilding of all kinds of ferries. We have design bureaus who are capable of preparing designs which can meet all the potential requirements of the Vietnamese colleagues. We are prepared to consider all possible cooperation options, starting from design and building using the USC capability, and up to the cooperation with the Vietnamese shipyards. Based on joint technical support projects for introducing the ferries, building and commissioning the ferries. And we need detailed terms of reference from the Vietnamese colleagues where these ships are used, and also ideas for possible timeline for the project, and we are prepared to create a work group for a more detailed development of such projects. Thank you very much, Valentina. It has been proposed to create a task force on the project. And now I would like to give floor to Mr. Anatoly Beninson, who knows this issue more practically. Anatoly, are you connected? Yes, hello, ladies and gentlemen. I would actually like to repeat the words of Mr. Nakhotkin. There is expertise for the design of the ships for inland voyages, including passenger ferries. There is also some demand coming from Russia, and we are prepared for internal cooperation. Thank you very much, Anatoly. And Mr. Dmitry Kiselov, can you add something? I can briefly emphasize one of the aspects, which is connected with the ferry lines, river ferry lines, because the distances are predictable and limited. It's an interesting field for using electrical propulsion, and the Maritime University in St. Petersburg has scholars and specialists who have been involved with these technologies. And there is a great number of ferry lines which enable, on the one hand, to have many positive outputs, and on the other hand, to develop those technologies further on a large scale in order to transfer it to other fields. And also we have the same connections which deal with the shipbuilding and upgrading of the standard designs and conversion from diesel propelled to electrically propelled ferries. So I hope that our colleagues would be prepared to cooperate with us. Thank you, Dmitry. So it seems like it was an interesting discussion, and there are proposals. There will be proposals, and we hope that there will be specific plans for implementing the designs and using the riverine ferries. Now let's move over to the next presentation, which will be made by Mr. Dmitry Stoyanov, head of the Center for Localization of Shipborne Equipment. From Kurs R&D facility. Can you see the presentation well enough? Yes, okay, you can see it now. I am the head of the Center of Localization of the Ministry of Industry and Trade, located at the Kurs R&D facility, and our task is to facilitate for the international companies the access to Russian market. I would like to briefly mention the structure of the Russian shipbuilding market. And today, the shipbuilding and ship repair includes about 500 companies. They are all located not very evenly spread geographically. Mostly they are located in the European part of Russia and northwest part of Russia. And it does not, however, preclude the showing big results by the Russian shipbuilding companies. And today, the prospective plan for the Ministry of Trade and Industry until the year 2025 contains about 1,000 vessels. So the structure of the market is retained in the format 120 to 140 ships. We do not include smaller boats. So it's about 120 to 140 ships for civilian use. Civilian fleet, the military shipbuilding is not included in this statistics. And also, I would like to say a few words about the large investment project by the Russian shipbuilders. It's a new project, a new shipyards, which is a large one in terms of international scale. It's Zvezda shipbuilding hub, shipbuilding center near Vladivostok. It's a large tonnage one, and it contains about 120 ships, about 50 contracts. Others are optional. It's large tonnage ships, mostly tankers and gas hauling ships of ice class for moving the cargoes from the Arctic region. So this is what our production program looks like. And why I'm saying this is because apart from small and large tonnage ships, there is also a large market for large tonnage ships.
It's additional value. It's high performance vessels that require supply of a great volume of equipment, and that's represented in Russia. So, colleagues have got competencies creating ship equipment and all kinds of related equipment. We actually invited to join in. So this is a special economic zone, industrial park Большой Камень. It's developed by corporation close to Zvezda complex, several kilometers from. It's a special economic zone. It'll have shipbuilding specification expertise. It'll be actually attracting those shipbuilders who are specializing in building of high tonnage ships. So at the end of presentation, we can discuss the contract. So please address us, as well. We'll direct you. We'll give you advice to the organizers of this special economic zone. Another investment project in Russian shipbuilding. It's building. It's fish and crab fishing ships. It can be broken down into 3 categories: large vessels. It's been contracted over around 50 vessels, so they're pretty contracted for building. So they're pretty expensive, and they are equipped with a lot of equipment and high-value equipment. So it's a big market for supply of equipment, and we got quarters for killing the ships, laying the kill, and we got quarters for internal of building the ships. So we run bids, tender bidding for this big size ships, also crab auctions. It provides for the construction of 41 crab fishing boats, and then small size ships. It's the number of these vessels is over thousands that are actually have exceeded their lifetime. So there's a great potential in construction of this kind of ships, up to 40 meters long. So the regulations of localization replacement requirements in shipbuilding that are be prepared for be signed in government. It's the point system. It's application of the point system for shipbuilding. It consists of several process stages, 75 of types of vessels with specified requirements for technological operations. And the producer has to have the right of, is authorized for design documentation, and also all the requirements for the materials, make the choice for the benefit of the overall the types of common ship equipment, about 110, and 4 types of materials for ship construction. And it will be equipment of Russian production, 16 maritime systems and over 20 types of equipment. So 126 type of special kind of equipment. It's fishing equipment, research equipment, and so on. Each type of equipment receives certain number of points, and sometimes it's proportional to the value, and sometimes the points are related to the level of importance of this kind of beacon to the Russian fleet. We need to get a certain number of points based on the criteria shown in the previous slide. This is so a requirement localization, the process localization will be increasing in the nearest future. So the demand on the Russian production equipment or foreign made but localized on the Russian market equipment will be increasing this demand. But also there will be reduction of supply of from
Здесь приведены примеры успешных.
So there is a good examples of localization. Some companies, it will bring will Hempel, Phoenix Contact. They build a separate facility, and some companies they come to localization without any capital investments. So they just pick the technological partner that can help them to organize this operations of their production. So the company needs just to have its office, the accounting department, and it can organize this format of industrial assembly in Russia.
Ну и, собственно, наш центр локализации.
Our localization center aims at providing support in search of optimum ways of turning to localization scheme and number of other services. Later, we cooperate with trade representatives of the countries. So you can you can see here just some of the countries the most actively involved in the discussion localization. We got information in the Russian shipbuilding market, information about the shipyards and design offices and other organizations, other shipbuilding related organizations. So we know who to get in touch with whom, and here we can prompt you with and help you in troubleshooting. Our center has created a portal, and it's an open portal where we organize a centralized system that takes into account all the opportunities of Russian enterprises and foreign companies localized in Russia to have everything in one site, not site, just to accumulate all the requirements, support from Russian, from abroad. Unfortunately, this portal now it's only in Russian. We'll get services, we'll get measures of support to those companies who come into localization. Some invest in contracts. It's industry development foundations and subsidies. In not knowing the specifics of Russian legislation, it will be hard for foreign companies to sort out all the specifics. So we're depending on the interest on the applicant company, we can help with choosing the optimal paths into localization scheme. Here I showed you the optimal way. It's a step-by-step instruction how to get for a foreign company to get localization. We can check the market, review the competitive situation, which market to choose, because some markets are more competitive, some are less competitive, some are free from competition. So, and you can see a bigger, larger market. So choosing the partners, sorting out the strategies of entering the market, and then the financial contracting and other kind of support. After launching the project, we are ready to support in bringing the product into compliance with Russian localization requirements, and then you can use this very huge market, huge shipbuilding related market. So with now we have the benefits with the drop of the exchange rate for the rubles. The expenditures are lower. Also, the Russian market is also not just the market of Russian Federation, but also Eurasian Economic Union countries and some other countries. It's also a huge market. For some items, the competition in parts of manufacturers in Russia is in terms of production of the similar products is low. So if you identify the niche, and this position is on high demand for the market, you can have very highly liquefied market. So please address us. We've got a team that's dealing with legal parts, legal advisors, economic part, and working with Ministry of Industry and Trade of Russia, and we are ready to give you qualified answer to your questions. So please, Jonas. Thank you, Dmitry, for your very extensive presentation. Very interesting information and indicating this niche in creating fishing ships. Most of interest is it relates to your terms and regulations of localization for foreign companies to enter the market, and it's required to do it now because the competition rate is low, but tomorrow it can be high. So we need to do it right now. Thanks for your presentation. Thank you, colleagues. Now I'm turning to Stanislav Agenko, representative Russian Vietnamese Business Council in Vietnam, and representative of the industrial zone. Stanislav. Не слышно. I can't hear. I can't hear.
Да, я повторю.
I can repeat it. I say welcome all the colleagues. I'm representative industrial Russian Vietnamese industrial zone. So what's industrial in our industrial zone is location. Now we'll show you.
Всем видно?
Can everybody see it? Yes, the screen. To return into the advantages. So in terms of the industrial economic zone, it's location. We are in the north of Vietnam, in Hai Phong province. Yeah, we can say it's in the city of Haiphong, 110 kilometers from Hanoi. We've got the agents motorway coastline, but it's a 3 hours to the Chinese border. So we are in the cross section of cargo flows, passenger flows. So we are in the action center location. We got 3.5 billion people in the very close radius. You can see Russia, we've got a deep water port with 2 container terminals, and also their slots areas can be filled with a container or bulk cargoes. This area, this location has got very intensive shipbuilding, also ship repairs required, and our site can be optimal for production of spare parts required for ships, for repair facilities and service facilities. And it's the biggest port of Vietnam, Haiphong, Nguyen terminal. Also, we have opportunity of deepen the approach channels down to 11 meters. That will actually give opportunity of receiving the ships of high tonnage. So the first quarter of 2022 will be started and will be completed in 2023. And it's a $130 million value of project, and we're speaking about VTB Group in terms of funding this project. I think it will be implemented, and the prestige of industrial zone of Deep Sea Russia will be brought to a high level, because there is nothing better than this location north of Vietnam. 3 hours. And any remarks? It's a 3-hour access to China, 1.5-hour access from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam, and adjacent to the biggest ports of north of Vietnam, Haiphong and Evacuation deep water terminal. The next advantage of our industrial economic zone is any production, any economic activity, any activity has tax benefits. So 0 rate of tax, 4.35% is the rate in meeting certain technological criteria. We can access some also some custom duties benefits. When bringing some spare parts and the parts to Vietnam that has not got some agreements for trade agreements that are not uncovered trade agreements, it can be covered for our economic zone. It's a unique economic structure, and minding the combination of geographic factor, there is nothing better than us in the north of Vietnam. So all the shipbuilding and ship repair and production of the parts for shipbuilding related projects actually will get the best benefits dealing with our zone. So after our negotiations, we'll find the best way of cooperation. Very interesting presentation, Stanislav. It's a unique industrial zone. Deep Sea is industrial. A lot of people in the radius of 3,000 kilometers, 3 billion people. Deep Sea, deep water port. There was also talk about prospects of deepening the channel, some dredging works in the canal. Also, our companies, SVKS will be a non-US company that is a high-tech dredging programs, very good in terms of taxes, 0 tax rate, and also custom duties. So thanks for your presentation. Now we turn to our research and education partnership part. It's one of the most important topics in shipbuilding. And I'm giving the floor to Kirill Sevich Rождественский, our moderator. The professor of St. Petersburg Maritime State University, director of Department of International Cooperation. So he'll speak about the...
Thank you very much. Can you turn on? I would like to say something to the fact that the interface in the field of industry, trade, and science very well complements the personnel training. Our St. Petersburg Maritime Technical University, which trains shipbuilding specialists. This slide has a logo, shows a logo. It is clear where we are located. We are in St. Petersburg. We are the main institute of such type in Russia, a leading one. We are a small one compared to standard figures, 5 departments and 5,000 students, but as a specialized one, they're probably the largest one worldwide. The main areas of training are overlapping to some extent. And we have the hydrodynamics, deep in-depth mechanics, construction mechanics, everything that one needs to know about the design, strength, reliability, technical condition, vibration analysis, and various breakages, failures that we can forecast. Also the hydrodynamic calculation example. There are fine issues related to different non-traditional, uncommon propulsion systems. We also do a lot on the Arctic technologies, and we work closely with the Maritime Register of the Russian Federation. We can calculate various issues related to strength of the ships and the various ocean application robots, the various wave gliders and residence systems. We also make micro UV ROV machines, which can be used collectively. And we also have very interesting areas which are led by Professor Dorichin, connected with the use of lasers and laser arc welding, the most up-to-date technologies which are in high demand. We also are preparing personnel about which we are telling. We have a lot of experience with the foreign students. We have bachelor degree programs, master degree programs, graduate school, and the postgraduate thesis are defended very successfully by Southeast Asian students. Concerning the profiles, there are some examples on the bachelor program. Computer science, management, IT, a new master program which is called Marine Engineering, called Maritime Technologies. And we are reading specialized, delivering specialized courses, for example, hydrodynamic of deep sea vessels, or laser and beam technologies, and introduction to shipbuilding. And our master programs are successfully accredited, not only by our ministry, also by international organizations, including the London Institute, with which we maintain close relations. And we have recently done international accreditation of 5 master programs. Some of the accreditations will be taking place shortly online because of the COVID pandemic. And due to such programs, after 3 or 4 years of working with the companies, the people can claim, the graduates can claim the charter engineer qualification, which is has equivalence in the EU and the US, and they will have a lot of opportunities to apply their qualifications. Also,
пригласить наших вьетнамских коллег принять участие.
I would also like to invite our Vietnamese colleagues to take part in the international conference almost simultaneously with NEVA. And the specific feature of that conference is a Pan-Asian marine engineering conference, and it's a traditional maritime navigation and shipbuilding topic, also connected with IT and 4.0, so it's a big data, digitalization, laser technologies, virtual design, and other things. We also have a certain expertise of interface with Vietnam. Now we are working with the Hitaka company, which is implementing joint bachelor and graduate programs. And there is a session in Vietnam with our graduates. We have quite a few of them in Vietnam. Many of them are taking leading positions in management and technologies in Vietnamese industry. And there have been a few visits and some contacts with the Vietnamese Maritime University, which is present on air currently. And some time ago, we have done some lecture studies at the Vietnam Army Technical University. It was a successful experience. 8 or 9 professors were taking part, and everyone was reading about 1 month long course. And it was a successful experience. We could resume and replicate to cover other maritime engineering organizations and universities. We like Vietnam. We like Vietnamese students. They are very capable, very hardworking students, very friendly ones, and we really want to see them. This is a slide which you already know these pictures. It shows how beautiful Vietnam is, how beautiful are the Vietnamese people, and how modern and advanced our partner is in Vietnam. Thank you. I would like to thank Kirill for this interesting presentation. It's one of the largest universities in Russia. We have prepared some Vietnamese students who are working now successfully in Vietnam, and they are officially presenting. They are interfacing successfully with the Vietnamese institutions. We have already starting to discuss this issue with the Vietnamese embassy in Vietnam, and we hope to see more of the Vietnamese students in St. Petersburg. And St. Petersburg, now we are moving over to the next session. We have listened to the authorities, to shipbuilding associations. And now we are moving over to the export and import section of our conference, to the session which is dedicated to the interface between Vietnamese and Russian companies in the shipbuilding business. And I'm here happy to give the floor to Mr. Roman Ivanov, representative of the company, which is successfully dealing with international solutions, foreign solutions to the Russian shipbuilding market. Hello, dear colleagues, can you hear me? Yes, we can hear you very well. Hello, Roman Ivanov is absent today. He went to a shipbuilding factory, and I'm a commercial director of the maritime program, specialist in one of our trades, and I would like to welcome one of my colleagues and also thank the organizers who have invited me to participate. We are very happy, and we would like to tell you a few words about our company. And we are involved with the supplies of some maritime equipment from Europe, from China, from South Korea, Australia, and other parts of the world. And it covers the area from Vladivostok to Kaliningrad. And we try to cover many areas within the Russian Federation. And the main partners are your United Shipbuilding Corporation, which is includes about 45 companies and design institutions with which we try to interface. And also some areas in the Crimean Peninsula, some companies in the Crimean Peninsula, Gazprom Float, Rosneft Float, and others. And it's no secret that not so long ago, the suppliers were our Russian colleagues. Unfortunately, there have been sanctions applied, and therefore our companies has changed its focus to such leading companies as South Korea and China, and we are not aggravated at all. We are satisfied with the quality and pricing, and in about 2 to 3 weeks, longer is the delivery time, but other than that, everything is fine. And our main products are the pipelines for different systems, the pipe itself, different grades of steel, nickel alloyed steel, and other types. And we've been working with many factories to that effect. It's very interesting for us. Therefore, we have been working very carefully with the fittings, very actively with the various pipeline fittings and accessories, and acting as distributors of those companies and the partners of those companies. So we have been very actively supplying various types of equipment. The primary cover from linoleum to different mahogany and other types of wood. Also, localization of the production is another important trend, and our Swiss partners, York Fisher, which also make polyethylene fittings, chemicals, pharmaceuticals, and other things, and we are now signing a memo. We're in the process of signing a memo with our partners. There is a roadmap It's immediately in the city of St. Petersburg, and we are actually prepared to cooperate with those companies. We are prepared to provide for any type of support, assistance, obtain various certificates to be able to sell the products in the territory of the Russian Federation, also work with various methodologies, testing methodologies, etc. And so there is a group of companies which is open for the dialogue. And we have our coordinates, and we share our contacts. We can share our contacts. We will be happy to answer their questions, and we will ask for the contact details of some of our Vietnamese colleagues who are on the program of today's conference. So there is, thank you very much. On the part of our group of companies, we are connected, and thank you, dear colleagues. And now, if you are interested in the global trade marine supplies or finding contacts, we can provide to you the contacts of global trade marine. And now I'm giving the floor to the Vietnamese side. The Vietnamese Foreign Trade Promotion Agency, Viettrade, which is joining together the Vietnamese representatives and represents the Vietnamese manufacturers worldwide. Ms. Lu Soi Quinn, the floor goes to you, please.
Viettrade, госпожа Ву Туи Quinn.
Viettrade, Ms. Lu Soi Quinn. Let her Quinn.
Госпожа Ву Туи Quinn, вас не слышно.
Mrs. Lu Tui Quinn, we cannot hear you. Vietnam, we cannot hear you. Can you please?
Yes. Good morning. Can you hear me now? Hello.
Да, мы вас слышим. Спасибо.
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you.
Yes. So it is an honor for Vietnam Trade Promotion Agency to attend this event, and also to have invite our Vietnamese shipbuilding companies. May I introduce the Vietnamese shipbuilding companies attend here? Beside the SBIC, we have the Ship Design Institute and also Ha Long Shipyard Company. And also, I want to summarize the speech that my Deputy Director General, Mr. Hoàng Minh Chiến, he just spoke earlier. So in his speech, he mentioned the shipbuilding industry is very important part of the marine economy. After nearly 15 years of development and growth, Vietnam's shipbuilding industry has become a key national industry with a series of large and small shipyards spread throughout of the country from the north to the south, and along with the joint venture factories with foreigner companies, and to become an important industry with essential human resource and providing technical equipment for the country. Today, the country has about 150 shipyard companies, of which about 20 large enterprise have the ability to build a large and technically complex ship for export. More than 80% of the market is controlled by the Shipbuilding Industry Corporation, which is SBIC, including 8 factories, a number of ship equipment manufacturing enterprise, and a design department. However, however, in the recent years, Vietnam's shipbuilding industry has still not achieved the target result. The reason is that this industry had been a closed industry, mainly for the domestic purpose. Ships and equipment for the transport of goods and passengers by the sea, rivers, for the defense industry use, for our petroleum and seafood industry. When the shipping markets were hit by a long reasons, the shipbuilding industry was significantly affected, and competitive pressure built up among the shipbuilding enterprise. During the past 2 years, and especially when the COVID-19 pandemic affected all aspects of economy and social life, the shipbuilding industry faced many difficulties in terms of market force, human resource, and research and development. Vietnam and Russian Federal have a comprehensive strategy partnership based on our traditional system, sincere friendship, and mutual understanding. The economic cooperations trade plays a key role in the relationship between two countries, in which the shipbuilding industry can be considered as a field of cooperations with a relatively long history, originating from our cooperations in the field of the military ship exchange, as well as the field military shipbuilding. However, in the field of private shipbuilding, the cooperations between two countries so far has yet to achieve the expected development yet. As a government agency on trade promotion matter, with a solid record of more than 20 years, and together with a network of trade promotion organizations in 63 provinces, and trade promotion office, partners, association operating in all sectors of the economy, the Viet Trade Promotion Agency is positioned to reliable bridge to support the Vietnamese and Russian business in the field of shipbuilding, to shape partners and investment cooperation opportunities. Activities we can support, including like organizing trade fair, exhibitions, conference, forum, intensive seminar, organizations of business delegations of Vietnam trade associations directly to the Russian federal market, as well as welcome the Russian business delegations to visit and work in Vietnam. In the current COVID-19 environment, with the current travel restrictions globally, Viet Trade is ready to support and connect, engage businesses of the two countries through online trade forums. Thank you very much. And now I give the floor to the operator.
Благодарим госпожа Ву Туй Куин. Спасибо большое.
Thanks you, Ms. Woodward Quinn. Thanks for speaking about the production capacity of Vietnam. We're gladly inviting your delegation, the trade into Russia, so that Vietnamese companies can find more partners here in Russia. Inviting Neva International Exhibition was a great venue we are inviting to, where we can search and find partners in Russia. And I'll give you the floor to Kirill Silovich for introducing the Russian companies. Denis Kuzmin, it's ITSS, first deputy director. Actually, he's a graduate of our university. Can you hear me? But we can't see you. But you can see my presentation, you can see the slides. Good afternoon, dear colleagues, our dear Vietnamese and Russian colleagues. I would like to thank you for giving me this opportunity to join in the conference and to carry on representing the Center of Technology of Shipbuilding and Ship Repair. Currently, it's a holding company structure that contains a number of research and design institutions, also some daughter companies, all related to shipbuilding. We're dealing with creation of new design capacities or shipbuilding capacities. Also creation of new shipbuilding enterprises. We develop shipbuilding and ship repair technologies. And we try also to use our expertise in other areas. Also technological support, design and production of all kind of piping and valve systems for ship application. Our holding has got the daughter companies, Burevestnik facility that produces the ship piping, marine piping. Also got the center contains the design office, Vostok design office, that designs fishing and research vessels, civil types of vessels. I'd like to say that it's, the Shipbuilding and Ship Repair Center was represented in a territory of the Socialist Republic of Vietnam several years ago. We've got our office in Hanoi for supporting the projects that we are leading in Vietnam for urgent solving all the kind of projects and issues. Lately, we've been running a project in the territory of Social Republic of Vietnam. It was the point of coastal base, and also we've performed, I'd say, design and production supply of all the equipment, X-52 ship repair yard in Cam Ranh. And so we have come to a successful completion. Our center, minding the great expertise that has been accumulated, dealing with the development of projects of creating new and modernization of existing facilities on the territory of Vietnam. Hydrotechnical facilities, power supply facilities, recycling of ships and vessels. We had negotiations with the government of Vietnam in terms of ownership structure and ship materials. It was in Ho Chi Minh province in the north of Vietnam. It has been mentioned already. So the basis of the sites, on the sites we set the complex approach for this or that ship building. We use already stock solutions, or we develop our own solutions. and we deal with all kinds of production, starting with processing, processing facilities and to the commissioning. Also, we provide support in assembling the production facilities and equipping with all necessary machinery. And we also involved in producing new products using the cutting-edge technology. And our also mentioned that our center is dealing with the design of civil vessels. We've been our designs encompass 800 of various seagoing vessels, and most of them are in operation. And we're ready to develop and design civil vessels independently and jointly with Vietnamese companies. I'd like to mention, as an addition, that one of the areas of activity is the development and production design of valves and piping of new generation for ships. So we've got design documentation for several thousands of types of ship pipe fittings. We are ready to setting up a joint production and test base for production and testing of shipboard pipe fittings and piping in the territory of Vietnam. We are also involved in training. Our organization has got research and educational center capable that has all the requirement documentation, all the permitting documentation for education of foreign students. So we've got all necessary infrastructure of servicing vessels at high levels. In this screen, you can see the projects that we've been running abroad and implemented abroad by our center. And in terms of the Russian Federation, all the big shipbuilding facilities were actually built and designed by our with involvement of our center. And so we welcome our Vietnamese colleagues to address us, and we're happy to work with you. Dennis, thank you. You can see the scale of international activity of the center, also our partners in Vietnam as well. Giving the floor to Evgeny Falmonov, Institute of Innovation, Shipbuilding and Ship Repair, Privolsky State University of Water Transport. Evgeny, please. Can you hear me? Can you bring the volume up a bit? It's very well. Could you bring the volume up? It's a microphone to bring the volume, the microphone closer. Thanks for the opportunity to speak in front of the honored audience. I'd like to give some information concerning the ideas that I'm interested in. It's possibility of a river vessel using the paddle wheelers. The topic seems to many as an outdated and currently we cannot, nothing cannot be suggested in this area. And the paddle wheel topic is outdated. But it's a wrong opinion. It's not true. In terms of hydrodynamics, the paddle wheel is a very effective propeller. very effective propulsion. Something, oh, what's that?
Так. И чем из теории и практики известно,
the theory and practice shows that the lower the speed and the second mass per second of water moved, then less the increment and the build up of the power. It has to 3/4 of its diameter of pedal wheel has to be over the water surface. That is the negative part. It is the drawback, because it brings to a bigger size of the vessel. Also, the pedal wheels are not protected for the floating objects. It's all related to the old type of vessels. To get away from these shortcomings, if we perform the propulsion steering complex as a 2 pedal wheels with separate drive and with a steering opportunity. The pedal board screw type provides for the pedal wheel type of propulsion steering complex has a high performance, and it can provide with not fixed pedal wheel. So it can be fixed, or it can be hinged. If it has a hinged assembly, allows for moving this pedal wheel complex up and down, and it lets the releasing the vessel from the shoal. And this kind of design is used at construction of passenger vessels and PKS-40 projects and the ferries. It is shown this design is shown a good maneuverability and controllability. Some sounds, some irrelevant sounds. So you don't need to go into technical details because we won't be able to understand all the details. So the point is that all our developments, the research and development pays great attention. I'm a shipbuilder and a designer, and I want to get through to the audience the information that there is a new type of efficient technical solutions in part of pedal wheelers, especially for the river application with shallow draft vessels and with obstructions on the rivers. So for low speed and higher speed vessels, this kind of studies shown successful. These pedal wheels with movable and controllable pedal boards have high performance. There's Morgan pedal wheels, and it gives benefits to the fleet equipped with this kind of pedal wheels. It gives high economic efficiency, higher steering performance, actually benefits in case of shoals and shallow water, and removes all kinds of sticking out parts and opportunity of releasing the ship once it runs aground. In terms of entertainment journey, it can use 7.5 liters when traveling at 10 kilometers per hour. Actually it's opportunities of this propulsion. Electric motor US also gives a lot of opportunities. It's economy of power, electric power. And as example, I'm showing some projects and studies like Surap of 40. Also a shallow draft pusher. Also a river dry cargo paddle wheel train that can travel along small river, small meandering rivers, and paddle wheel ferry that can be used as shuttle, because this complex can provide the traveling directly and reversely. So thanks for your attention. If any questions, I can answer them. You've proved that on the Volga gives birth to all the ideas. Nizhny Novgorod is the center of river shipbuilding. All the hydrofoils came from here. Thanks, many thanks for this very interesting presentation. And I've recollected the paddle wheel as something new as well, forgotten old thing, as it was on the Volga. I recollected the film Volga. They're using paddle wheel. We love this film and reminds us about this type of propulsion. Thanks a lot. And let me give the floor to Vladimir Hamidul, engineering. So they were mentioning several times about dredging, and it's a company, yes, the research and engineering and technological expertise in area of dredging.
Добрый день, коллеги. Спасибо за возможность выступить. Я единственное, чтобы у меня имя, Владимир, к сожалению, не смог присутствовать. Меня зовут Александр Троицкий. Я генеральный директор компании News Engineering. Если коллеги позволят, я сделаю доклад по-английски, чтобы не беспокоить переводчиков сложностью перевода терминов на английский. Сейчас продемонстрирую нашу...
Let me make my presentation in English, not to bother the... let me not bother the translators, and I will try to make my presentation in English. My name is Alexander Troitsky, and I am Director General of our company. It will be about dredging equipment.
So, if you allow, I will do my presentation in English. Just a moment, I'll let you see our materials. Here it is. Thank you so much for this opportunity to take floor within this conference. Our company is based in St. Petersburg, Russia. We have quite a narrow specialization, that is automation, everything connected to dredging and underwater works, including mining and other hydrotechnical construction. We develop our own means of automation for diverse phases of the construction processes underwater and on that. For now, we are 12 years old, have clients all along Russia and behind its borders. We have equipped more than 100 vessels. And our basic product are the 3D positioning systems for all types of dredgers. These are the automation that allows an operator to see what is actually happening underwater while making any dredging works. So basically, operators of such vessels that actually dig a bottom underwater, they look not into the window of their vessel, but they look to the interface of our systems. And they can see both the current depths within the working area and the projected depths. We have developed these systems for floating excavators that are called backhoes, for chain bucket dredgers, for suction dredgers of diverse types, and even for grab dredgers. This is the most demanded product in the dredging sphere as to the automation. To make this possible, we use specific methods of satellite positioning, of bathymetric data supplied to the systems, and at the same time, set of sensors on board to measure the position of the dredging equipment underwater. And what's our main know-how is the software that we use to model the processes in 3 dimensions and make it as sufficient and as efficient as possible. At the same time, we supply specific systems for suction dredgers that make it possible to measure the production of any pipeline and any soil pump that are used for dredging and mining underwater. We actually use the traditional method of measuring density and velocity of the material into the pipe, and thus measure both the current production of dredger as to the material, not only slurry, and at the same time the resulted amount of the material dredged. Traditionally, for such systems, people use radioactive sensors to measure density. But what we decided to develop several years ago is the non-nuclear production measurement. What we are happy now to present on the market. We have done this without radiation. At the same time, we can measure density in the pipe with a clamp-on solution that doesn't need any cut into the pipeline. What we use is the ultrasound methods to measure the density into the pipe, and this makes it possible to have quite high accuracy and precision, and can be integrated into any kind of a suction dredger. We have presented it onto the several markets, including Europort's show 2 years ago in the Netherlands, and have tested it onto the several places, including the special density meter tests with non-nuclear density meters organized by Vinci Construction Corporation in France 2 years ago, and have installed it on several vessels, including the joint test with the China Communication Construction Company the same year, and several vessels, including the Russian ones and the French ones. You can see them now on the screen. Some of them are currently working into the Black Sea, some of them into the Atlantic Ocean, some of them in Africa. The results are quite satisfying, and we are currently starting the wide supply measures of such equipment around the world. Actually, we're very interested in the Vietnamese market, and would be very happy to have a kind of a representative or a partner there to work with Vietnamese shipbuilding industries, working with dredgers, and at the same time with the users of any type of dredgers. Sorry, I can't see what's that. Excuse me, just some option that I can see what's happening there. Just a moment, sorry. Excuse me, I can't see what's happening. Actually, I'm already finishing. Hope this won't disturb you much. Another point that we have developed and launching currently. Dada? Sorry, I don't see what's actually ringing. That's some kind of a Zoom stuff or something. So this is a technical vision system for dredgers that we're currently developing. Actually, that's it. Thanks so much.
Владимир, огромное спасибо. Компания Nonius Engineering уже имеет международную известность, как мы видим.
Thank you very much, Vladimir. Nonius Engineering has a lot of international significance. It's one of the Russian companies which has a very in-depth scientific development, and there are universal capabilities which enables one to show what happens during the use of your equipment in the ground, and the radiation sensors, that non-radiation sensors which can measure the flow of the slurry. Just a second, small information for the Russian participants, because we get information, we get requests for presentations from the Vietnamese partners. Everything will be distributed, all the contacts, all the presentations in English, and also the speech from Viet Trade, and also the speech from Viet Trade. It will be disseminated in Russian, distributed in Russian. Now let me give floor to Anastasia Kobzeva, head for the small size and small tonnage shipbuilding rowboat.
Hello, everyone. Do you hear me well? Okay, I hope so. So my name is Anastasia Koptseva. I'm the head of the Russian Boat Builders Center, which combine the Russian manufacturers of the small craft vessels. So I will give this short presentation. And we'll talk about some factors which are influence on the Russian market and what we produce. First of all, we have to say that Russia is a huge country with 147 million inhabitants. We live in 11th time zone, and the country was by 4 oceans and 12 seas, which should be the length of the inland waterways is more 155 kilometers, and many areas in the central part of Russia can be reached only by water transport. The old ships and the ship equipment in Russia are subject to registration in the certification organization. And the state inspection of the small vessels, registered vessels up to 12 meters and not more than 12 passengers. And all larger vessels, as well as small engaged commercial vessels. Oops, I'm sorry. Sorry, I have the technical problem. Okay. So returning the, I'm sorry, I will switch on the Russian language because I have the difference between, in the case of the presentations. Прошу прощения, коллеги, переключусь на русскую презентацию.
So let me switch to the Russian presentation and coming back to the specifics of our region. There is a large fraction of our ships are the air cushion ships, and the period of the navigation hovercraft. And unlike Europe, we don't have any restrictions on the noise. and therefore they are used commercially for the delivery of cargoes and transportation of the passengers, for rescue activities and other things. And there are about 20 ships which are used in Russia and are located in two shipbuilding capitals, St. Petersburg and Nizhny Novgorod. They are manufactured. There are both small ships and
Так, ну, так, секундочку. Вот некоторые образцы продукции.
Here are some samples of the products that our company manufactures. It's Neptune, a company from Nizhny Novgorod. Also Aeroflot, which is Aerohod, which exports goods very actively to India and China. And also we have to mention the hovercrafts developed by Ms. Alexeyev, who has during World War II developed the first torpedo boat, which could gain very high speed, about 90 kilometers per hour. Also meteor ships, hovercrafts, which are exported worldwide, and also, which is also very interesting, Alexey's design bureau belongs to Radar MMS, and we have several years ago presented a 10-meter Sagaris boat, which can gain speed up to 110 kilometers per hour, 130 kilometers per hour. And a few words about the electrically propelled ships. At Neva exhibition, we have presented a project for a passenger ship, which has been tested last year. And I can repeat that there are 155 kilometers of inland waterways, and those ships are an important transportation vehicle. And there we have a shipbuilding factory which also makes water jet engines, propulsion engines for the ships. There are interesting projects by Kaliningrad shipworks, Ushakovsky shipworks, also Srednye shipyards, which is an undisputable leader in the materials. And if you statistics, the volume of the Russian exports is increasing in the small dimension ships production. Over the 2019-2018, the growth was 252%, which of course is an indicator of our activities and why Russian products because compared to Europe, we make relatively inexpensive ships, which enables us to make the product which is products which are 20% cheaper. A few words about the pandemic. Of course, our sector has been affected by that, but because the small dimension ships are one of the types of areas where you can lock yourself for self-isolation, there was a boom in private use, and therefore, in conclusion, I would like to say that the Russian shipbuilding industry has a lot of resources for increasing the volumes of civilian use products, and we are inviting everybody to Neva exhibition where you can propose your development, and we can propose ours. Thank you. The activities in Nizhny Novgorod are continuing for high-speed boat building continues. Now I would like to give floor to Ms. Daria Videnska, who represents the Neva International Exhibition. Hi, dear colleagues, I'm happy to welcome you all at this event. I would like to remind that this event is a part of the international online conferences, which are organized by Neva International jointly with sectoral associations. Can you turn on the presentation? Neva International is one of the organizers of the international exhibition and conference for civilian shipbuilding and navigation, which will be taking place in September 2021. Neva is one of the largest exhibitions in Russia and Eastern Europe, and throughout the entire post-Soviet space. It's one of the 10 largest exhibitions worldwide. It's been convened since 1991, according to the decree of the government of the Russian Federation, and overseen by the Ministry of Transport.
So Ministry of Transport, Ministry of Trade and Industry, Ministry of Foreign Affairs the exhibition will invite representatives of Ministry of Transport, Deputy Minister of Transport, the Governor of St. Petersburg are permanent guests, and it's a renowned venue for business and relationships in the area of civil shipbuilding of different purpose. This Neva exhibition shows a great growth. In Neva 2019 was the biggest scale and important exhibition in its history. It was 654 exhibits from 29 countries, about 25,000 visitors, specialist visitors. Expo Forum, it's an exhibition center that hosts the Neva exhibition, provides all security measures due to coronavirus infection. And we've developed, understand that for some companies from Vietnam, so they'll come to the exhibition. We've made a mock-up of hybrid participation. So you can be in constant contact using the laptop computer, can be with the internet. You'll be able to be in touch with and communicate with all exhibition participants, and you have a representative, a manager there at the venue, and you'll be able to speak about your product and actually make an appointment in advance. I'd like to mark along with 2021 Neva, the Transtech exhibition, promotion of government initiatives of transport corridors. It will be taking place in 1994. Last year, 600 delegates took place with delegates from 47 regions of Russia and 38 countries. Transtech is supported by, promoted by the government on of Transport and Government St. Petersburg, Maritime Council, and other industrial associations. St. Petersburg is the venue of this events, is one of the biggest transportation maritime hubs with a lot of maritime traffic going through it. The main purpose, objective of forum, creating a venue for setting up business relations and partnerships, stimulation of generation of creating of industrial and production links. So the exposition encompasses wide spectrum of materials, modern materials, equipment, technologies, and so that provide a full cycle of design, construction, modernization, repair, and equipment and maintenance of transport corridors infrastructure. So the forum business program takes 4 days, and this is the operator of the session, and then theme conferences. The key topics are implementation of federal and regional programs in maritime transport, international interaction, and then key transport corridors issues. So we invite you, dear colleagues, to take part in the business part of this exhibition, and an exhibition on the forum of Transtech and the Neva exhibition. Thank you for your attention. It's Neva, the Bianca Neva International. Before saying the closing word, I'd like to voice the thesis NAVGEO expert director Dmitry Gagarsky on topic hyper safety. It's a very important topic. I'll say a couple of words about the and the presentation will be sent to those who listen. Starting 1st of January 2021, hyper safety and security requirements are checked in all ports. And starting 2022, these requirements cover all the vessels, as there is, it can be distortion of satellite signal. It proposes a different type of monitoring the location of the vessel. Also, there is assessment of risk of shipboard equipment failure, and modern cloud technologies are creating digital twins of the vessel are the means of creating this additional opportunity of this kind of super security, and it relates to the vessels that were designed and built earlier, but now the cyber security is important, and it's this is of Mr. Gagarsky. And now the concluding word, ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, Russian and Vietnamese colleagues. So our video conference has been successful under the auspices of Neva International company and under support of the Center of Expert Support of St. Petersburg. St. Petersburg Trade Support Center. We said we say some advisors on cooperation, the Trade Council, the cooperation, and specific enterprises were speaking. The key zones of interest that can be filled were earmarked. We actually, in real time, we've heard not only questions, but we've also heard many answers to these questions. We've got to know and created a big contact database base for implementation of our prospects, of our creation of our roadmap. So I would like to thank everybody. And on behalf of our community, I would like to thank Neva International Company for a great level of organization. But it would have been that good performance if not the Anna Guseva and Daria present. I would like to thank them, Daria Kurshina, who's the manager of this project, and Daria Debenka, you've just heard from. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much.
Ну, а если еще, значит, Маша, тебе выручка.